Hello everyone, welcome to Downtown Tailoring. In today's video, I'm gonna introduce you on reducing the size on a suit jacket. I'm gonna start with the simple, easiest way to do it. But anyways, I'm gonna give you some really good tips and tricks to do pretty good job. So let's go! If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. This is a very oversized jacket that needed an extensive alteration, including the shoulders. So my customer and I agreed that we wouldn't do a crazy job because then the budget will be way too high. So I promised her I'd do the best job that I can in the easiest way possible. As you can see, I pinned all the seams in the back, at the front, everywhere, and I just went at the back pinning just until the armhole. And as you can see, I pinned both pieces together at the bottom, but then after I kind of shifted and pinned just one piece because the other one at the top part, I don't want to change the size. So this is the jacket and let's work on it. First of all, of course, I need to mark my pins, and for that I need to open the lining a little bit. Usually when I pin, I try to not pin the lining together, but in this case sometimes the static don't allow me to do that. So I'm just gonna open the lining a little bit at the hemline area, and then from there, little by little, I will be marking my pins and then removing pins, marking, removing, and that way I can go through my whole thing. While I'm opening as well the center line in the lining, and for some reason this one is one piece, like they did a dart somehow, it's not two pieces, but that really doesn't matter because anyways I have to take in there, so I will just cut it in the center and it will be okay. Opening the lining will allow me to work better, to have more space for working. As you can see, I'm being very careful. I go mark my pins and then remove them, and well, you have to be very patient to do this kind of job. This is the way that my jacket looks. As you can see, it's very boxy, very straight. I think it was to make like just an oversized jacket, but we really want to make a fitted one. See, there is material around, like a lot of material. So I'm gonna go to my working table and I'm gonna start to mark where I need to take in. I always start in the center line, and as I pin, sometimes you don't pin like a completely perfectly well. So what I always do, I try to balance that. I go in one side through the mark, and then I can see at the other side how center those marks were, and if I need to correct it, I do it. And then I go and do my line over my pins. There is something that I need to tell you because I think this is the most important. When I started from the top of the back with a curve that will go inside, and then when I go to the waist, the curve change and then curve again. So let me show you with a drawing. Like if you have a person on the side, that the way the column is made, it has kind of start with a curve like that and then go to another curve for the waist and then the rest of the curve for the hips. I can show you in this book, for example, this is a, anatomy for drawing, how the side view is done. This is, of course, just the column to try to find a balance. We are not supposed to be bipedal. That's why we need some sort of curving adjustment. So going back to our jacket, and now you can see clearly where the curves are. I will use my French curve to help me to do a nice curve, So I will start with the first and then the convex, and then I go back to the concave. Well, depends of the point of view that you are looking at, of course. So at the bottom, the jacket had like the hem done. I have to open the hem to have this well done because I need to go pretty much straight. This curve, honestly, will yield a little problem with the hem, but the beauty of it is more important than the hemline. So now I see that I have my curve, and as you can see in the waist, you have another curve for the sides. It's because exactly for the same reason. In that case, it's because of the thoracic cage, of course. So just to be a little bit more comfortable, I'm gonna put my jacket very well inside out because I need my jacket very open so I can have my two sides, so I can see all the measurements and do exactly the same at both sides. Remember that we are talking about symmetry here. So if I take one side more than the other, I balance that. In the top part, as I said before, remember that I'm going to shift those measurements to just one piece. Like I'm taking in one side a little bit and almost everything at the other side. And the reason for that is just geometry. You have one piece that if you take in that piece will go down too much. You don't want that. You want the piece to be the same height so we can work better with this. Of course, I have to open the point with these two pieces and counter the sleeve in the armhole, and I'm open the two pieces so I can separate it, so I can shift one and take in the other. I'm marking my curve, and because it's a slim woman, we are talking with this profound curve, but if it's a man, it's kind of a little bit less. Then I mark as well my other two seams at the front. You really don't take too much on those seams when you are doing the jacket, but this jacket was so big that I did it. And now I'm going to my sewing machine, and as you can see, I start again sewing at the center back, and then I'm going to sew the front. I'm making sure that I will start exactly in the same point in the front darts, because as I took in on them, I have to make it a little bit higher than they were before, so they look nice and normal. And for the front side seam, because it goes up to the top, it's better if I open as well the armhole. I'm going to start in 0 there, but that will make a nicer angle. That's why I do it. And now we are going to work with the two difficult one, which are the back sides. And I always start with the right side because that way I have the small piece on top. I'm making sure of putting together the two lines as I mark, and in this case, as you can see, I didn't put too much pin because I wanna, soften up the way I sew it. After I see that wherever is the height that is reached, I will mark, and then I will start sewing at this height. Then I will sew again with that piece on top, and I'm making sure to sew everything well. After everything is sewn, then it's just a matter of finishing. For that, I open the old seams and I iron everything first flat, and then I cut the excess of seam allowance. I always like to leave as much as I can, but because of the curves, always you have to cut a little bit. If it's the big curve, I leave around 1/2 inch, but if the curve is not that big, then I leave around 1 inch. So if the customer gain weight in the future, we can still let out again for my customer. Now, you see, I have to close back the armholes that I open in order to sew from the very top, as I said before. And there are other occasions that the job is a little bit more complicated that we will see in the future. I saw my 2 armholes, and then it's the turn for the lining. I saw the lining. I do everything I did in the jacket, I do it in the lining, and I'm now sewing back the hem, and I close the whole lining, leaving just a tiny bit open. And the way I will close is going to the sleeve, open the normal open that the sleeve always have, and then I'm going to insert my hand and pull this little part that have the hole, and I will close that, and then I pull back everything, and I will make sure as well that all my tackings are in place. This was the last tacking for the sleeve, and I'm closing my sleeve back with the top stitch, and my jacket is done. There you go. This is the way it looks. It's more fitted. We know that it's still in the armholes, it's a little big, but the difference is remarkable. You can see it. Would you be satisfied at this level of alterations, or are you willing to go the extra mile? This is my customer wearing it. She is very happy. As you can see, you now see a jacket that looks good on her and feels good. If you find this video useful, please give us a like. So guys, that was all for today. If you find this video useful, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Bye!